Hey, this is Isaac from Turnsounds. A worm is just a snake without a head.
Yep, doing this already.
Why, hello!
It's R2, you have a bad motivator, look!
I haven't the faintest idea why I agreed to this.
This is no Astromech.
Hello there, and welcome to Astromech, the Star Wars show which dares to talk about Star Wars away from the prying ears of family and friends.
Ooh,
A safe space, if you will.
wow, you make this sound a lot more taboo than it should be.
Well, okay, we'll get into that one. I'm your host, Isaac Mike Anthony. You know me as Isaac the Hutt. For now, we have Benjamin with us.
Yes, I can't be old Ben today because we've got another old Ben in the
Yeah,
room.
we'll
But
get to him.
I'll be Ben Lars. I quite like that one.
Ben Lars, okay.
Yeah.
And direct from Old Bencor, we have joining us yet again, Adam. Welcome, friend. And that's when the city council decided to do some scheduled maintenance on my internet and completely disconnect it from the building. Hooray! It's all happening. Great. Okay, let's play.
So when we left off, we were being brought into the episode by our good friend, everyone's favourite character, Kitster.
Kitster, that's right.
Yeah.
Who everyone knows and loves to the point where old Ben cut off just at the exact right point when you said, "Oh yeah, Kitster, he's," and then you just cut off and it was just silence. So I think that about sums up Kitster more than words could. So yeah.
So are we doing the intro again? What are we doing? I can fake it if we need it.
Look, it would be more coherent if we did, but we're not going to lie to the
We'll be
listeners.
real with your listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, technology.
Trust. You need to have the trust between these people.
This is it. You know,
Yeah.
there's very little cutting between what we do. We don't hide anything. And our technology sucks. Look, listeners, if you want a more coherent show, you can go and plug in at turnsounds.com and you can see how you can help us out. Maybe get some better equipment, better hosts, better everything. We'll see.
Wow.
See how we go. All right. So,
Better hosts.
let's get right into this thing. High Republic and Mandalorian. So we'll quickly just touch on High Republic. Old Ben, I've been seeing on your page that you've been posting a little bit here and there. How is High Republic going for you?
It's been going good. I'd say I'm coming up on about halfway through Light of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I just listened to it to and from work in the car, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot more now that I'm getting sort of towards the middle of the book too.
Okay, yeah, something you'd recommend then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it offers certainly what folks probably have wanted for a while. It's something entirely, well, not entirely, but newer and fresher in a sense because it's just focusing on an era that isn't entirely new and untapped, really.
Okay, yeah, because
Yeah, I absolutely recommend it.
great. Someone like me who's never really been keen on the books, it's more seemed like kind of a chore and something that was never really, in my mind, sort of authorized as like Disney storytelling. It just seemed like kind of like whatever. Don't really have the time, but I am tempted. I feel the pull, and yes.
Would you go for book or audiobook?
Audiobook, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So that's
But
easy.
yeah, you can just drive around or listen to it when you're, working on stuff. So yeah, you got plenty of options.
Absolutely. Ben, are you able to hear our sound effects at all? Are any of these coming through? Oh,
I heard
I
heard a
can't
little
even
bit of
hear them,
one.
I don't think.
I remember hearing Anakin screaming before things collapsed in on themselves.
give me 1 second here. Because I was going to play some things.
Oh yeah.
Is that coming through?
What kind of things?
Did that one come through just then?
I didn't hear it that time, no.
Okay. Oh well, we've got it at least. You'll hear it when you
No.
listen back. You'll be like, oh, that's why they randomly started laughing right then.
Oh, wow!
Oh,
It's like I'm there again, but yeah.
Okay, so I might need a hold until our stuff gets its act together. I might hold off on one or two of those segments. But okay, Mandalorian talk. So we've been sort of going through episode by episode as they've been coming out, season 2 of Mandalorian. But if you wouldn't mind just giving us your quick wrap-up sort of thoughts. Have you been enjoying it? What's been going on? That's you, Adam.
Oh, I loved this season.
Yeah.
I had a really great time. Where are you guys at talking about it? What episode are you on so far?
So we've covered the whole thing essentially.
Okay.
And yeah, gone through it mostly episode by episode each week. Yeah, but what are your thoughts on the whole season overall, and particularly the big reveal towards the end?
Oh yeah. So okay, with that in mind, I can splurge about the whole thing.
Yeah,
I loved it.
spoilers
It was a really
are
good
good,
time.
yeah.
I think. Spoilers are okay. Good.
Okay,
I was about to say, if you've been able to avoid them this long, good on you. You haven't touched the internet apparently. But no, yeah, I think one of my favorite things about this season is that the more one-off episodes that aren't tied too much to the greater story, I think were better in this season than they were in the first season. I like both seasons a lot, but I think that the first season has got a lot of episodes that just, they're the one-off things. And it's like, hey, whatever, we're doing this right now. We're doing Seven Samurai, but with the farmers who farm the blue prawns pretty much. So I think in this season, they did it a lot better. I mean, like the first episode with the crate dragon, it's probably one of the best episodes in the whole season. And it has very little to do with the greater story. So yeah, great season.
Because in the past we've talked about how sort of each episode in its own little way is kind of like a bottle episode. Like, it starts with a problem and finishes with fixing that problem, and that's kind of the formula that they've been doing over and over again. And I know that you, Benjamin, actually kind of voiced a concern with, was it getting repetitive about, oh, your ship's broken, need someone to help you fix it?
Particularly at the start, they'd always be like, oh, I need this part for my ship, or there'd be something, and it's like, yeah, we can get that for you, but you need to help us with something first. And like it worked really well, but after a little while, it became a bit of the same thing happening again and again.
But they actually remedied that,
Yeah, absolutely. Especially sort of halfway through, how it really started changing up, and each episode really had consequences that led into the next one, and so yeah, it was good.
Yeah, as much as I mourn in the loss, I think the Razor Crest being blown up is one of the best things to happen for the show, because it has to make our boy Mando move around in different ways and interact with different people. He can't just be a sad boy on his spaceship all day. He's got to get out there. He's got to get out into the universe. Got to interact with people a bit more. Which is out of his comfort zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, definitely high hopes for season 3 and now Book of Boba Fett coming up. That's all very exciting. Good stuff. Yeah.
Solid.
All right. Well, typically at the start of these things, we have little what we call thoughts of the day, where we kind of just bring any sort of thoughts from if we've watched any of the movies recently and something's come up where we've gone, hey, what about that? For whatever reason it might be. I've got one from episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll jump to you, Adam, see if you got anything in a bit. But I must ask you, how long since you've watched episode 2, Attack of the Clones?
Probably probably not too long. It was probably around the last time I was on the show, because I was rewatching all the movies before Rise of Skywalker came out. So that would have been the last time I saw Attack of the Clones. What did you notice about it this time, or what observation do you have?
So when you've caught somebody in a lie, like, and full well that they're lying, but they don't know that and so they're going ahead with their story, and they're kind of just like going over, and you're just like shaking your head looking at them going, oh, you filthy liar. That's pretty much rewatching all of the prequels as you watch any scenes with Senator Palpatine, wink wink. It's like This episode 2, he's talking to Padme and he's like, oh, this assassination attempt on you. Oh, so terrible. If anything were to happen to you, oh, I'd just be so sad. And you're just like, you filthy liar. You're such a liar. Oh,
Not even a good one.
no. Well, I mean, he may be the very best.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, he won.
If results speak, then yes.
Even like right toward the end of episode 3, where you have the 3 Jedi come to arrest Chancellor Palpatine, and he
Yeah.
turns around and he's like, "Oh, I've got great news! General Grievous has been killed. Isn't this
Yeah.
wonderful?" Oh boy. Oh man.
Oh, sleazy.
Yes.
You gotta fake it till you make it. That's Palpatine's whole bit.
That's
Yep.
very true. Very true.
And he just sticks with it as well. Like even when he's about to be arrested, he's just like,
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. What are you doing?
Yeah. Help me, Anakin. I'm too weak, constantly.
Please don't. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, good thought. Good thought.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just watching him and shaking my head. Oh, scum.
I was thinking a bit more about one thing we talked about last week.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's trying, absolutely. Which was in the finale for Mandalorian season 2, where you've got the Darksaber and the whole thing of like, oh, you need to beat someone in battle for it to be yours officially. So I was trying to think, okay, why are we not quite gelling with that so well? Why are we not liking it that much? And I had a thought, sort of comparing it to Harry Potter, right? So Harry Potter is very similar.
Okay.
Where you've got, especially in the last one, you've got the wands and the Elder Wand and all this stuff. And for the wand to be yours, for you to be able to use it most effectively, you have to win it from someone in battle. You have to defeat the previous owner. And so that works because we're dealing with magic and all this crazy stuff that's its own power and rules. And so you have to play by the rules of magic for it to work. But the thing is, with the Darksaber, it's all just about, legends and just rules that people have made up. So there's no actual reason why you have to beat someone for it to be yours. You could literally just take it and say that you beat someone and it would still work exactly the same. So I think maybe that was just a thought for me, at least, as to why we're not quite gelling with the idea so much. But yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on that one from either of you guys?
Adam?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this today a little bit, believe it or not, because I think it was today or yesterday, one of the Star Wars official pages on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Right.
They posted something about Bo getting the Darksaber from Sabine. And kind of my understanding, I think maybe, is that she feels that since she accepted it once already, she can't do that again, maybe. It's like, hey, I never really earned this thing, so this time I really can't take it. And also, Bo's an entitled elitist, kind of. So she absolutely wants to have it. She wants that story of getting it for herself to prove everyone wrong. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on it.
Okay. For me, I wondered if it was kind of like a no take backsies type rule, because assuming at some point she lost the Darksaber to Moff Gideon somehow, he stole it, he tiptoed in, he stole it, or he beat her in combat and whatever. So she's already had that, I guess, quote unquote shame of losing to Moff Gideon. Maybe the only way for her to actually win it back was to actually win it back that time.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
even
it's-
more so.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it, again, just makes Bo-Katan that much less likable because she's now, throwing off everyone else and making this whole big deal out of something that, like, okay, you can just get over it and just accept the Darksaber, just take it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. There we go. That's my thought.
Makes plenty of sense to me. Was there anything that was on your mind, Adam?
I mean, there's certainly been one thing while listening to High Republic, and this really isn't a spoiler. This is it's not a big story moment. our favorite long neck boy is in the book. Jarl Poof.
Right. Yeah.
Ah. thought you were
Remember
gonna-
Jarl Poof?
Yeah, I thought you were
Phantom
going to talk
Menace.
about Lama Su.
Long neck guy, tiny head.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought they were the same species, but now I'm older and wiser, I guess. But no, Jarl Poof is in the High Republic. He is on the Jedi Council
Okay.
200 years before Phantom Menace.
So he's just got a long lifespan, like Yoda.
He's a really old boy. He's a really
Right.
old boy. So as soon as they start to describe him, and I'm just driving back from work or something, and they describe this neck waving back and forth, and I'm like, ooh, it's a weird I don't know, it's a weird alien. Oh my god, it's that weird alien! How dare they? So out of all the characters you could have brought back, High Republic was like, we're bringing him back. That's what the fans want.
They actually name dropped him in the book, did they?
Yeah, they did. They say like Jedi Master Jarl Poof, who was on the council, and I was like, oh, it's that guy. No, there wasn't just a long-necked alien that I was like, holy cow, I think it's him.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, right. No, it makes sense, hey, because we've got Wookiees have got a long lifespan. Yoda's can go 900 years old or whatever. So it makes sense that there's a few others out there that would be similar. So I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, very much so. All right. Well, we're going to be jumping now into one of the segments that I'm rather a fan of.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy, we know it as the Sacred Jedi Text.
Oh boy.
And that's when an effect would normally get played. Now, this is our very own script read where we take a scene from Star Wars and we do our best to put the names to it. You can close your eyes, maybe not if you're driving to work, and you can just remember the movies and relive that through our vocal talent. So, both of you will have that script in front of you,
Indeed.
I believe.
Oh yeah, we got it.
All right. Let me just pull this up.
So what's the go today? Are we just doing the normal voices of the actual characters, or because we've been changing it up a bit with a few of them recently?
I reckon these have got enough kind of voices in there that they're likable enough. I would say that we're gonna give them a try.
That works. Mon Mothma usually sounds like she's falling asleep, but hey, it'll work. We might.
I think you
again,
just
if you're
volunteered.
driving, just make sure you stay awake because there's some very soothing voices about to play.
All right. Sorry, my computer is just.
That's all
Don't
right.
send optional data. What are you doing? All right. Okay, so the scene I'm taking you today is from Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This is the main briefing room. That's sort of the war room where they discuss what's going to be happening on Endor. And we got a couple of characters here as well. What you got there? All right. We got a couple of characters here. Of them to note, we have Mon Mothma. We have Han, Lando. We got your boy Admiral Akbar, General Maydeen, one or two lines from Princess Leia, and that might be it, I think.
And at least, there's a couple from Luke at the end and a C-3PO.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, how's your Akbar, old Adam?
Oh, I mean, everyone can do an Akbar.
Okay.
It's like a Schwarzenegger. Everybody can do an Akbar.
We have done that. Yeah. Go back a couple episodes if you feel so inclined, although you might not, which is very reasonable.
All right. Well, after your glowing endorsement, Ben, you can be Mon Mothma.
Okay.
Adam, you can be Akbar. You can also be Han as well, so keep an eye out for both of those.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Lando only has like one or two lines, so I'll take Lando. And then Ben, you can be also General Maydeen.
Okay.
And
Everyone's favorite character, yeah.
Yeah, who I can definitely remember
Who can
who she
forget?
is.
it's a he.
Got the best hair in the galaxy.
great.
Yeah. And then I guess You can be Luke as well, Ben.
All right, cool. Leia?
I'll be Leia. So I'll be
cool.
Lando, Leia, and everyone else know their parts.
I'll do 3PO at the very end as well, hey?
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right.
Got it.
Here we go. I'll also narrate as well.
Okay.
Kind of goes without saying. And here we go. Hundreds of rebel commanders of all races and forms are assembled in the war room. Wedge is among them. Wedge.
Wedgie.
Yeah. In the center of the room is a holographic model depicting the half-completed Imperial Death Star, the nearby moon of Endor, and the protecting deflector shield. Mon Mothma, the leader of the Alliance, enters the room. She is a stern but beautiful woman in her 50s. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Something about never
Dang,
ask a
George.
woman her age. Conferring with her are several military leaders, including General Maydeen, and Admiral Akbar, a salmon-colored Mon Calamari. Oh boy.
It's harder than it looks. This whole reading business.
Salmonella colored
Okay, Lando moves through the crowd until he finds Han and Chewie standing next to Leia and two droids. Han peers at Lando's new insignia on his chest and is amused.
Well, look at you, a general, huh?
Oh, well, someone must have told him about my little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab.
Well, don't look at me, pal. I just said you were a fair pilot. I didn't know they were looking for someone to lead this crazy attack.
I'm surprised I didn't ask for you to do it.
Well, who says I didn't? But I ain't crazy. You're the respectable one, remember?
Mon Mothma signals for attention, and the room falls silent.
The Emperor has made a critical...
You're
critical
doing good.
error,
You're doing good.
And the time for our attack has come.
This causes a stir. Mon Mothma turns to a holographic model for the Death Star, the Endor moon, and the projecting deflective shield in the center of the room.
The data brought to us by the Bothan spies pinpoints the exact location of the Emperor's new battle station. We also know that the weapon systems of the Death Star are not yet operational. With the Imperial fleet spread throughout the galaxy in a vain effort to engage us, it is relatively unprotected. But most important of all, we've learned that the Emperor himself is personally overseeing the final stages of the construction of this Death Star.
A volley of spirited chatters erupts from the crowd. Han turns to Leia as Chewie barks his amazement.
Many Bothans died to bring us this information. Admiral Akbar, please.
Admiral Akbar steps forward and points to the Death Star's force field and the moon of Endor.
You can see here the Death Star orbiting the forest moon of Endor. Although the weapon systems on this Death Star are not yet operational, the Death Star does have a strong defense mechanism. It is protected by an energy shield which is generated from the nearby forest moon of Endor. The shield must be deactivated if any attack is to be attempted. Once the shield is down, our cruiser will create a perimeter, while the fighters fly into the superstructure and attempt to knock out the main reactor.
I'm so pleased that you've done the wet breaths in between as well. Like,
Oh, you got it.
Oh.
You got to stay moisturized.
yeah, absolutely. There's a concerned murmur.
Ooh.
General Calrissian has volunteered to lead the fighter attack.
Han turns to Lando with a look of respect.
Okay, I'm going to flip it around. Good luck. You're going to need it.
One more line.
General Maydeen.
Maydeen moves center stage.
I have no idea what this guy sounds like. I can't remember.
He's kind of a formal sounding
Okay.
guy.
We have stolen a small Imperial
He's
shuttle.
just a very... He's a
Yeah?
stick in the mud.
Sticking about. Okay. Disguised as a cargo ship and using a secret Imperial code. A strike team will land on the moon to deactivate
Perfect. I feel like
the
I'm there.
shield
Wow.
generator. Thank you, I appreciate that.
The assembly begins to mumble among themselves. Leia turns to Han. I wonder who they found to pull that off.
General Solo, is your strike team assembled?
Leia, startled, looks up at Han, surprise changing to admiration.
My team's ready. I don't have a command crew for the shuttle.
Chewbacca raises his hairy paws and volunteers. Han looks up at him.
Well, it's going to be rough, pal. I didn't want to speak for you.
Chewie waves that off with a huge growl.
That's one.
General, count me in.
I'm with you too.
They turn in the direction and peer into the crowd as there are more cheers. The commanders part and their back stands Luke. Han and Leia are surprised and delighted. Leia moves to Luke and embraces him warmly. She senses a change in him and looks into his eyes questioningly. What is it?
Ask me again sometime.
Han, Chewie, and Lando crowd around Luke as the assembly breaks up.
Luke.
Hey Han, Chewie.
R2 beeps a sing-song observation to a worried 3PO.
Exciting is hardly the word I would use.
And scene. Goodness gracious me. Oh,
Hey.
definitely not bad. Man, that Akbar. Oh.
By the end of that, I was about the same color as him too. I was salmon colored.
Salmonella. Yeah.
It's salmonella, yeah.
Oh boy. So my question to you, I know you do a rockin' old Ben, but like, why are you not Admiral Akbar Corps? Like, come on.
I don't know. I think I maybe had watched a little bit more New Hope than I had Return of the Jedi by the time I made the page. I don't know.
Fair.
It was not on the basis of my fish voice, I guess.
Alrighty. Well, we got a couple more segments before we wrap up today's show. Among those, we have a segment we call Fan Service or Easter Egg. And that is where we look at some things from Star Wars and determine, was it a fan service or was it a bit more hidden? Was it a cheeky little Easter egg to the people paying attention? And this one is actually a bit different. A little while ago, Benjamin, you brought to my attention R2 and C-3PO in the prequels. Was the whole act of them being in the prequels one giant fan service step, or were they kind of essential to the plot? You know, do you remember bringing that up?
Yeah.
So
it certainly wasn't an Easter egg.
So definitely not an Easter egg. But I guess what we're trying to determine here, and I'll go to you, Adam, first. What do we think about the act of putting R2-D2 and C-3PO in the prequels? Did we actually need them in the story, or did we need that bit of familiarity from the old trilogy to kind of bring into there? Is that just fan service? What do you think?
Well, I didn't really have too much of an opinion on it until I listened to another audiobook. It was Anthony Daniels reading his memoir about his experience. The book is just called I Am C-3PO. And
I'm sure Andrew would love that one. He's a big fan.
It's an incredible book, and definitely listen to it on audiobook if you have a choice between the two, because Anthony actually gets to read it. So that adds an absolute other layer to it. But at least going off of what he thinks about, he felt like for the majority of the prequels, C-3PO was mostly kind of just propped up in the corner as, again, sort of a bit of familiarity for people to connect to. He really liked that a child made C-3PO. He really liked that idea. He loved some like sequences and whatnot. But up until about Rise of Skywalker, he felt like he was just kind of propped up in the corner to be there and be familiar. So I think he matters in the story to an extent. I'm fine with him being there. He's one of my favorite characters, so more 3PO, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he's not very useful, and R2 isn't very useful either. But whatever, they're droids. I'm fine with them being there for the whole ride.
Yeah, okay. Because thinking about it, I'm trying to think about through episodes 1, 2, 3, what use do they actually have in the story? Is there anything that
R2 absolutely saves the day at a few points.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, not heaps outside of that, really. Hey.
Yeah. Because there was definitely a lot of concern when these newer ones came out, the prequels, that they were so far removed from what everybody knew in the original trilogy, and that's partly why they were, disliked by a large amount of people. So I think it was definitely a smart move having them in there when all the other faces you didn't recognize from elsewhere, other than maybe who else, like Palpatine. But even
Well,
then,
Obi-Wan is obviously,
Right.
a
Obi-Wan
familiar
Palpatine,
character,
yeah.
or even if it's a different actor.
you got a tiny bit of
Yeah.
Chewbacca in Episode 3, I suppose.
Yeah, Yoda.
Yeah, true. Yoda as well.
Yeah,
That's right.
definitely. Yeah, so, I mean, for me, thinking about it, this ties into a lot of, I think, what people didn't like so much about the prequels, whether you're talking about Metachlorians or these guys as well. I think there's just something, if you completely forget about them being in the prequels, if you just think about the start of A New Hope and the role they play in the story, just the idea that these are just these random droids who are on an Imperial ship, and R2 just happened to be given these plans, and R2's sort of the smart one. 3PO's just being dragged along. He doesn't really want to come, and there's just something a lot more likable, I think, about the characters when they're these random droids thrown into this crazy situation. And same with all the characters, really. Luke and all these things. It's not like, Luke's got brought into this because of how many metachlorians are in his blood. It's like, no, he's just this random farm boy who got caught up in this crazy adventure. So for that, that idea I just like a lot more. And then we come to the prequels and it's like, actually 3PO's not some random droid. He was built by Darth Vader as a kid and tied into the fate of all this crazy stuff. And I don't know, it just kind of takes away a bit of what was special about those characters for me. So that's maybe why I wasn't a big fan of it.
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough. I don't see it as blatant, if you will. Like, I've spoken before about how I don't think fan service is a bad thing necessarily. But I don't think it was only put in there to please people. I think they actually had purpose in the story. And like you say, R2 comes in handy a bunch of times. 3PO, I think more so the sequel trilogy, apart from the old trilogy, the original one. The sequel trilogy is where 3PO tends to shine more, I think.
Yeah, he especially Rise of Skywalker. 3PO was amazing. He played a great role in that.
Absolutely. Okay. Any final thoughts on that one from you, Adam?
Oh, just that I love C-3PO and Rise of Skywalker. I absolutely agree there. He's a great time. It feels he feels the most 3PO he's felt in a long time, because they give him stuff to do that he is utterly unqualified to be doing.
Yeah. I like it. Hey, very, very well used.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Well, we got only a couple of things left, and then we're actually jumping into some special after-show segments for those of you who are plugged in at turnsounds.com. Yeah, you can get ready for those benefits to come rolling on through. However, we got we're not a news podcast by any stretch, but Lucasfilm Games has newly been founded, I believe, derived from LucasArts, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the structure of it all works, but yeah.
But yeah, we got some news on the way as far as stop me if I'm wrong. Like, chime in, please, either one of you, if I misspeak here. But I believe over the last sort of 10 years, EA has had some sort of exclusive rights with Disney to be the sole maker of Star Wars games, and I think them paired up with like DICE, Motive, Respawn. I think those are all just offshoots of EA anyway.
Right.
But now the floodgates are wide open. You got Lucasfilm Games, and we got, I think, an Indiana Jones game, like teaming up with Bethesda.
Yeah, I heard something about that, yeah. And the big one is then Ubisoft is making a big open world Star Wars game, which we don't really have much info about aside from just that. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Adam?
What? You know what? If you would have asked me, gonna get real. Whatever. If you would have asked or told me about this, this news hitting maybe like, I don't even know, 5 years ago or so, I think I would be even more hyped, and I'm still hyped. I'm excited, but also I think the EA's second Battlefront game is one of the greatest redemption arcs ever. It went from just it went from just an utter mess of a game to just being a really tight, fun experience. So when I first heard the news, I was excited because it was like, holy cow, we're getting an Indiana Jones game from the sky from the Morrowind people. Sure, I'll take that.
Yeah.
But there was also a little bit of apprehension because I was like, I felt that maybe a third Battlefront game with everything that they had learned could be the greatest Star Wars game ever made, because by the end of it, I mean, EA was doing a really good job with 2. So I'm excited for the stuff, but I hope we still get a Battlefront 3 that's learned from all the other stuff, and because I just love Star Wars Battlefront.
Do you think there's enough room for them to really do something new in a third Battlefront? Because they have been obviously updating number 2. Like, do you think they need to leave a few years for there to be room to completely change it up to justify a new game?
Yeah, I agree that, the more time, the better, honestly, because it could be one of those, because if you rush it, it could be a situation like the first EA Battlefront where there's kind of a shoehorned Scarif DLC, and they just shot that thing out real quick. So like Director Krennic and Jin are just really awkward characters in that, because you can tell that they hadn't finished the movie yet when it's like, Director Krennic's kind of this character, do these lines, and Jin's sort of like this, do these lines. So if you rush it, then you get maybe something where they try to tie in an upcoming Lucasfilms thing, and it doesn't.
When it also has like cut scenes, and they still have the from Rogue One, like you say, they hadn't even released it yet, and so you've got these lines of dialogue which never even made it to the movie. Like, man, you spawn as Jin, and she runs across the field saying like, "This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel." And you're like, oh no. Yeah. Okay.
But, I mean, I agree with you. I'd be keen for a new Battlefront, but I'd probably want to wait another few years, mainly for the fact of like, you don't want to pay sort of $50 to $100 and then get basically the same game just with a couple extra features. Like, you want it to be different enough that it's worth having a whole new game. So, but I agree that man, just such a crazy redemption, and it'd be good to see what they do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, some silliness, like, come on, you got BB-8 as one of your heroes. Like,
yeah.
If you thought we were finished with our technical difficulties, you're so wrong.
Well, it wasn't so much a technical difficulty rather than just that we're on the free version of Zoom and we're a little bit cheap. But hey, that's where you can come and give us some money, man.
We're back at it again.
All right, so just capping off that thought then.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, Isaac, and Adam as well, but starting with you, Isaac, what would you like to see from the open world game?
That was my next question, sir.
Mate.
Got me again. Okay, so I don't know if you're a big fan of Ubisoft anyway, and the sort of games that...
What are some of the other ones?
Assassin's Creed, Far Cry...
Right, yeah, cool.
I don't know if I'm forgetting any. I think they had The Division. That's Ubisoft, isn't it? I think that's Ubisoft.
Sounds right.
Anyway, a Star Wars Far Cry. Man, give it to me. If you've ever played Far Cry, like liberating strongholds, guerrilla warfare type things, man, that would just be something else. And to have like a multi-climate planet where you can run all the way around it, and at one point you're in an icy...
One planet, or would you want to travel to different planets?
Oh, man. There's a thought. Maybe both.
Yeah, why not?
Or the potential, I feel, is extremely limitless for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you want to be just like a Jedi character, or be able to change characters? Have you put any thought into like, I guess just the who you'd be playing as or the sort of concept of it?
If you've ever played Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, essentially that's all I want. I just want another Jedi Knight Jedi Academy game.
Okay.
Go over and follow my core page, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy core. You'll find me raging about all of these things.
Yeah.
But that's all I want, effectively. So that's it for me. What about you, Adam?
And I actually I had an inkling of a thought when they announced it, and I was like, oh, how do you do an open world Star Wars games? Do you just go to 1,000 planets or whatever? But that's not, I don't think you can't do that because it would just be so much and people would either be let down by like, oh, I can't explore this much of the planet. So one thing I think that maybe could be cool would be focus on maybe a diverse system. So maybe a couple moons and planets around a star, and that's your map.
Yeah,
and
I like
flesh
it.
out, and maybe it's original, maybe it's already established, but kind of focus in on one place. And yeah, they're not going to be literal whole planets and moons, but they're going to be big maps on their own, and you can dart in between them. I don't know how doable it is, but I think that's more doable than trying to appease people by just being, you can go to Geonosis, and then you can go to Coruscant. It's like, whatever. That's kind of my thought. Yeah.
Maybe think about like ship customization type things as well. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
I like it.
What about you, Ben?
Well, this it's been floating around social media and Reddit and stuff for a little while now. People sort of wanting this, but I think the open world concept and this whole thing lends itself very well to Mandalorian. If you were to do, just you as the Mandalorian, as this bounty hunter, just going between planets.
Hey.
There's jobs available everywhere, and it fits perfectly with the show. Like we were, talking about earlier. It can be a bit repetitive on TV, but it's perfect for a video game where you go to this planet and there's these jobs available if you want to get this part or whatever. And so I think that just lends itself to a lot of flexibility. You can fly around between planets and so who knows what sort of idea they're going with it. Obviously, you do kind of want lightsabers and stuff in there as well, but I think a Mandalorian game would be awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Neat. Even with like Pedro Pascal's voice and everything, that'd be
Yeah, definitely.
cool stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going into our Notice Integrations round. And then after that, we got something special for you.
Good morning.
Oh, my goodness. Did you hear that at all?
I think that's coming out of the speaker.
I heard good morning.
Okay, that'll do it for me.
Fair enough.
All right, Notice Integrations. This is the part of the show where we bring something that we like and we finalize the show.
Yeah.
Except for you plugged in people. You got something special. Okay, Benjamin, why don't you take this away?
I'm just pulling up my notes actually to remind me. So, do you mind going first instead?
Well, all right then.
Okay.
So I was watching episode 6, and you've got the setup on Endor, where the rebels have landed, and they're kind of looking over the hill at there's some scout troopers, and there's this small back and forth between Luke and Han, where Luke is saying, there might be more of them out there, just, be quiet and all of that. And Han does this whole, hey, it's me, what you gonna do? I got this. And then the very first thing he does is like alerts everyone's attention and sends everyone. And it's like, And it's great as well because Luke, you get just this fast shot of Luke and he's like, great, okay. And then off he goes and I think the humor in number 6 landed quite well for me.
Okay.
To the point where you're like, of course, like now we got to go on this chase, and I do like that. I like watching that.
Yeah, I like it. Cool. Well, mine was episode 3, the droids versus the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. There were plenty of things to laugh at maybe or complain about there, but I do like just the idea of in episode 4 we get sort of teased that a Wookiee will rip your arms out if he loses at a game, and then there's this crazy beast, and he does a few he takes down a few stormtroopers here and there, but to be able to really see this army of Wookiees just going into full-on rage battle mode, I think just that being able to see that is great that they gave us that. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. Even the leading charge in, you get the one chief
Oh,
stand up and roar.
Yeah.
Stuck.
And
It
you
gets you
can-
going.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can do it with droids without it being overly, violent and gory. So that's the way to do it. Yeah.
I'd follow him into battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got, Adam?
Yeah, this is one I thought about a little bit before because past 2 times I've been on the show, it's been Return of the Jedi related because it's my favorite movie. I'm so hyped about it.
That's so fair, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, and especially after this last season, The Mandalorian, the first episode, I love sand people so much.
Yes.
I love Tusken Raiders, and they always interested me when I was a kid because they're pretty much they're sort of the first alien they really hit you with in the face. They're like, whoa, this thing's making sounds that are not human, and it's trying to kill Luke with a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary. But as the decades have gone on, they've really delved into their mythology, their religion, their culture, and I think that first episode of season 2 is just a love letter to kind of the OG alien that you see in Star Wars, and it humanized them. They aren't just monsters that get destroyed by Anakin when he has a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I did mention that to the other boys as well. Like your boy Klieg Lars, our personal hero of the show, from all we know is pretty much up until that point is his line of they walk like men, but they're mindless, vicious monsters, and
Yeah.
and so that's all we've known from them, and give them this slang of calling them like the sand people and stuff like that.
Racist Klieg.
People of the
Come on,
sand.
man. Give him a
They
chance.
took out Tusken. Oh, those dirty son.
Yeah. So it's nice, yeah. You put it right, and it also makes what Anakin did to them so much worse, wiping them out as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Although they did, kidnap
They were-
Shmi and
They did a bad thing to a single mother on
I mean, they're not completely blameless.
Right.
Yeah, but I love it. Hey, just even calling them sand people, like it just okay. Are they actual people under there, or what's going on? It just creates this whole mystery, and yeah, it's very cool.
Excellent. Yeah, good pick. That's cool to think about. All right, very lastly, before we move on to our plugged in people, we have what I like to call the dialect of the day. This is where I bring a voice from Star Wars, alien dialect, not basic, I think it's called. And we just appreciate it. We give it a listen to because there's so much creativity in all of these Star Wars voices. So
Cool.
So today's one, you can guess who it is. I hope you can hear this, Adam, but here we go.
Here's open.
Oh, I need to click on that
Oi.
thing. Here we go. Yeah, there you have it.
Oh,
Who does that sound like to you?
It's my favorite sports legend of all time. It's
Oh.
Sebulba.
Indeed. Indeed.
I mean, even you can see a bit of it in the behind the scenes documentary of the guy doing the voice. How he lasts more than like 5 minutes without completely tearing up his throat and destroying his voice. It's incredible.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that's a cool one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be working through those sort of chronologically. Last week we had Watto, and so it's a bit of a hint for all of you people listening. You can kind of guess along and appreciate with us. But until the next time, I've been your host, Admiral Isaac Mark Anthony. Thank you for sticking by.
I've been Ben Lars, giving sand people a chance everywhere.
And we've had Adam with us as well.
Old Bencore, or whatever you want to call me, doing the impression.
Yeah. Go over to Facebook and flick him a like because there are some spicy memes to be had.